In this video, we're going to be learning about the difference quotient and how to find and simplify the difference quotient. The expression f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h for h values not equal to 0 is called the difference quotient of the function f. And it turns out that the difference quotient actually helps us find the rate of change within the function over a certain interval. When we look at the difference quotient, it can seem a little bit overwhelming at first, but it turns out if we just kind of break it down into pieces, then we're not really learning anything different. We're evaluating a function, just like we have in the past, and then we're applying algebra to be able to simplify. However, you have to kind of get your brain to break it apart and not try to look at it all as one piece. So to help you do that, I'm actually going to rewrite it here using different colors to represent each piece of the difference quotient. So we have f of x plus h minus f of x, and then all of that over top of h. So you can see that we are breaking it down into just different pieces of something that we already know how to work with. So let's look at this example where we have that f of x is equal to 2x squared minus x plus 3, and we want to find and simplify the difference quotient for this particular function. Well, remember that f of x plus h simply means take everywhere there's an x on the right side of the function and plug in an x plus h. So we have 2 times x plus h squared minus x plus h plus 3. And that represents f of x plus h. We still have our minus sign here, which is I'm going to do in orange. And then we have f of x, which is just 2x squared minus x plus 3. However, we have to be a little bit careful here because remember, we're trying to subtract all of f of x. So as I've got it written here, we're only subtracting the first term. So we're going to have to put our f of x in parentheses to show that we are subtracting the entire thing and not just the first term. And then all of that is still over top of h. So hopefully by seeing it in colors here, you can kind of get a feel for that we're just breaking it apart into different pieces. Now we're going to evaluate each of these pieces, and then we're going to use algebra to simplify. So let's start with our purple section here, our f of x plus h. So we're going to start by squaring x plus h, because remember, x plus h squared means x plus h times x plus h, or we can use the special product rule. So I'm going to choose to use the special product rule just because I think it's a little quicker. So we square the first term and get x squared. We take the product of the two terms, which would be xh or hx, and multiply by 2. So 2hx. And then we're going to square the last term, so h squared. Then we're going to distribute the negative because we have parentheses here, so we have to distribute that negative. So we get negative x minus h, and then plus 3. Now we're ready to distribute the negative to the 2x squared minus x plus 3. So we end up with negative 2x squared plus x minus 3. And then all of that is still over top of h. So as you can see, it's a lot to work with, but it's the same things that we've been doing all along. We're just combining them all together. So we just have to be real careful to make sure that we don't lose any of our pieces and that we don't change signs inadvertently or anything like that. So now we need to distribute the 2. So we have 2x squared plus 4hx plus 2h squared minus x minus h plus 3 And then we still have our minus 2x squared plus x minus 3. And all of that is still over top of h. Now that we have everything on top as simplified as we can, we're ready to start combining our like terms. And so I'm actually going to switch to, let's see, I'm just going to go straight black at this point because we're going to start combining our purple and our blue sections. So we have a 2x squared and a negative 2x squared. So those are going to go to 0 or cancel, however you choose to think about it. We have a negative x and a positive x, which are going to go to 0 or cancel. And we have a 3 and a negative 3, which are going to go to 0 or cancel. So on top, all we're left with is 4hx plus 2h squared minus h, and then all of that is still over top of h. And when you get to this point, if you've done your job correctly, then all of the terms on top are going to be divisible by h. And that's going to be our last step, is to divide each term on top by the h on bottom. And make sure that you divide every term by h and not just a couple or one of them. So 4hx divided by h would leave me with just 4x. 2h squared divided by h would leave me with 2h, and negative h divided by h would leave me with a negative 1. So even though we started with a very large expression, in the end, we end up with just the trinomial 4x plus 2h minus 1. So don't let the difference quotient overwhelm you. Just think about it in different pieces. Be very careful not to mess up your algebra along the way, and you can see that you end up with a nice little answer in the end.